Thank you, Governor. You know, I think in this situation here, where we're at, the strength of what happened here is organically our state mutual aid system. The very first group that was on hand here was a Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Search and Rescue Team. That's not even officially a part of our state 8-team search and rescue team system. Maybe we want to change that in the future and put them on that. But you know, that Type 3 team, which is self-funded 100% by Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, was the first ones in to this situation, followed up by Miami-Dade Task Force 1, and then Ohio and Virginia Task Force. And again, I think, again, that's just a strength of not just the state emergency response team, the state emergency response plan, but also outside states helping states. You know, some people were a little critical of the governor sending state assets up to North Carolina, but right here, when we needed them, of course we got all those guys back, but immediately Virginia, Ohio, California, and other states from around the country had their assets right here. So, you know, this is one of those examples. The sheriff was telling us about this when we were walking up. He was very grateful for those assets being in here so quickly. But that's the strength of the state emergency response team, the state emergency response plan, and then the greater emergency management assistance compact that we pull from. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. This is the first day of many, many to come, probably over the next couple of years. Again, it's going to take us a long time to get all the recovery done, but we're not going to let bureaucracy get in the way. We're going to get this done as quickly as we possibly can. So thank you, Governor, for your leadership.
You want to maybe just give an update on what we think we're going to get from FEMA for debris removal?
Sure. Yeah. So we're going to start getting back in the debris removal business. You know, we're going to supplement where we need to supplement, but we had a really good conversation with Administrator Criswell, who is here in Florida. It is actually on her way somewhere in this general direction, but she is working with us on how we could ensure that debris gets picked up quickly. How do we, and the right word's not incentivize it, but if you're in the private sector, it would be, how do we incentivize haulers to get stuff picked up faster, bringing in people from around the country to get that done. We're also looking at potentially, again, a mutual aid effort where we may bring in some city and county assets that have the claw trucks and the loader trucks from around the state of Florida, and maybe even outside the state of Florida, to help us get that stuff picked up. So again, she's very, very helpful on getting those things done, making sure that we got everything that we need. We will be submitting, hopefully by this afternoon, now that we got post-landfall and we got some data, we'll be submitting through the governor's signature a major disaster expedited request so that we could get those federal funds turned on and start looking for reimbursement. But again, we're not going to wait on the feds for reimbursement. We're going to do what we need to do the right thing, get people in Floridians back on their feet. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, this whole debris, I mean, you had, like, in Pinellas, they didn't want to do the debris as fast because they weren't sure about the paperwork and about FEMA reimburse. And it's like, you know, you got to get the debris off. And these storms, because of the way it's done, really incentivizes it to go a lot longer with the debris. And sometimes the debris in these major storms is around for a year. And how ridiculous is that? So what Kevin's doing, and I think the administration wants to work with us, is to let's align these incentives so we can get the job better. You'd think the private sector would do it so much better than government. At least that's what I would think. And yet on this debris after Helene, when we saw how much was there and we knew another storm was coming, we got all our Department of Transportation assets from Florida. We were bringing trucks in from all over the state that are doing their normal duties, and we surged them over to the barrier islands off the Gulf Coast of Florida, and we did like 3,000 truckloads of debris, reduced the debris by 50% in 72 hours. So, and we did round the clock. We had 24/7 shifts going, but that's a sense of urgency. So I just think that, you know, that may be an extreme, like doing 24/7, but I mean, you should be able to get the debris done earlier than that. So I'm hoping that they can do this in a way that's going to make sense, so that the local governments can bring their contractors in and clean up the debris. We'll see what the debris was left on this storm. I don't think we have a real good sense about how much compared to the other. I mean, I think the storm surge overall was not as high as the others, but I also think it probably hit, the winds hit more of the Florida peninsula on this. So I think in terms of tree damage, I think you're going to see a lot of that. And then, of course, we had more tornadoes for Milton than we did for Helene. So we'll see how all that shakes out. But I really think, getting a better posture on how they do the debris reimbursements would make a lot of sense, and I think it would move this process along a lot further. And it's also just the morale thing. You get hit with a storm, seeing debris is just a constant reminder that you got hit. When things get picked up, things look nice, people feel a lot better about it. So we got to get that. We got to make sure they get that job done. Okay, do we have any questions?
All right, we certainly appreciate the governor there being vocal, talking about the red tape that we have to go through to get this debris removed. We need the private sector to come in and help remove it. We've got to wait for the red tape first from FEMA. So he's saying, let's cut that out. Let's let them start hauling, tell them they're going to get paid, and we'll start getting this stuff out of here.
Yeah, I got a big effort underway, especially after 2 back-to-back storms here. I think the good news is as well, especially since you're getting texts already too from people trying to get back to the area, and people definitely want to check on their homes. I'm sure you do with your loved ones too. Fuel is on the way. We have experienced some issues with it, of course, because so many people were evacuating. The good news there, evacuating out of the area for this storm. The bad news is, left a lot of people fighting over gas. Fuel is on the way. 1.1 million of regular gas is in the reserves right now. Highway Patrol is escorting that fuel in, so just be patient with that. Again, stay where you need to be today. Just let that all refill. It is there. We're not in the midst of a shortage. We just got to get that gas to the tanks.
Yeah, and if you see the red and blue lights coming down the highway, move over because they're getting gas to the tanks, and we definitely need that right now. You're watching continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton here on 10 Tampa Bay. We'll be right back as we take a look here at the amphitheater.